This is a topic which is somehow controversial, and you can look for more information about this. But I want to introduce this basic modality concept so that you understand what you're going to build up upon. Okay, so there are 3 or 4 different types of modality preferences. There is visual, audio, the kinesthetic, so the touch, and the digital. The digital is the 4th type, so it's sometimes distinguished, sometimes not. Okay, so in the visual type, this is all related to learning. In the visual type, these are people who like charts, who like everything visual. Give me the presentation. Why weren't you on the last video? Why couldn't we see your face? Give me more visual stimuli. I have to see it. Yes, and these people, you can identify them by the move of their eyes. These people most likely look to the right or left corner, upper corner, and that would mean that, okay, they're accessing some visual information. Actual information about this is on our presentations. You can check it out, find it. Then the ODL people, these are the ones who hear the world, they understand the world through hearing, and maybe they start sentences like, listen. And the visual types would start sentences like, you see. So even in the sentences they use, they can, in the language, they can use the visual or ODL words. ODL people remember things by hearing, and their eye movement would be side to side, okay, from one ear to another ear. Then the kinesthetic people use a lot of gestures. They like actions, they like trying things out. These are the ones who like, how the fabrics feel. And also, kinesthetic types are strongly related to emotions and emotionally experiencing things. Also, somehow kinesthetic people would talk a little bit slower because they consult with their feelings. Okay, and these people would look down, sometimes accessing some physical information, and the digital ones are considered to be the ones who don't really use any of those 3, and they just function by using the pure reason and some processes. So their mind is like a process. And you can say that it's never pure. It's always a mixture. And some people are somehow more visual. And actually, most of the people in the age of YouTube are mostly visual. But also, there are some kinesthets, so people who like this kind of experience, and some ODLs. And for each of these types, you have to bring different kinds of exercises so that they perceive the information actually. Okay, you can imagine that and think what could be the possible differences and how does it affect your life at all. I also wanted to say that I will attach the file where you can fill in the questionnaire, and it's very short questionnaire to check which types you have the most, and you can compare what's your proportion. We can talk about that in the class if you do that. And one more test. This is also from Carson Tate from the Working Simply. There will be also an attachment about the productivity styles, and also another presentation where you can learn a little bit more about the productivity styles. Okay, so you will make this test and read it. And here I want to make a note that this information comes from the practical field. So the author herself is the productivity coach. And by using this kind of information, you can somehow find some insights for yourself, or find something interesting, learn something new, and just use it as a perspective. Don't use it as a strict directions that the world is like this and no other is possible, but just use it as a tool. Maybe you will learn something new. For me, when I first did it, maybe 3 years ago, it was very funny, but somehow since my childhood, or I didn't really like the lined notebooks. And since I took this test, I realized that only the blank papers are good for me. So beautiful blank paper, nothing is better than that. And I like specific types of pens. And somehow I got this insights from this test and from this book. maybe there would be something like that for you. So just explore it and see how it turns in your life. Okay. And finally, I want to say that this time we're going to have an assignment, and this is going to be mind map. And about, do you know what is mind map? Okay, you can't answer. But you will read some of the information, this information. Mind map is the way to structure the information better. Okay, so this is the map of the information. In the center is the topic. So the topic is my presentation, okay? And that would be like a little branch about motivation, a little branch about productivity, have-tos, and all the other things that I told you about right now. And then there would be other little branches with some tasks that I gave you. Okay, there would be a test, there would be a little bit theory, and then I specify what was exactly the information. So that would be, for instance, a mind map of my presentation. You will read all this. This is what they look like. These are, of course, the pen and paper. You don't always have to do that. You can use online tools. So mind maps can be used for a diversity, a variety of cases. You can generate ideas with that. So, oh, what should I do in my life, for instance? Or how can we solve this task and something like that. Then you can better retain information from books and articles. So if you read, you just structure the information and you have a mind map that you can read afterwards, and you won't really have to reread the book. You will just take 10 minutes to read your mind map and you will immediately remember everything. For problem solving, what, when, where, why, how, who, you just write all those, and that's how you plan a project, for instance. Taking notes during the meetings or during the classes, that's like little doodling. Setting life goals, about that I will elaborate more, that's my favorite. Project management is like problem solving almost. To-do lists, yeah, what should I do in my like professional life, in my studies, in my I don't know, sports or personal development, etc. To-do lists, holiday planning, yearly planning, anything. And for more ideas, you can go down to this link. It will be in presentation, and check out what are the other other spheres. But you can also come up with your applications. Okay. So there are some digital tools for mind mapping. If you like to be creative, you can use colorful pencils and just draw it for yourself. But if you're not so keen on drawing, you can use these tools, or even you can use the Word. For me, it actually works this way, that I use these tools. There's going to be links for that. I use them together. So this is the mind map application, and I create the mind map, and afterwards, mind master, it's called. And then afterwards, I actually can transfer these tasks automatically to this tool, and then use it for as my task list, and that's super convenient. And then also, I use something that is super important for me, at least. It's called Toggle, or you can use any other tracker. So this I use to track the tasks and how much time does it take me to do the task, so that I could actually see if, okay, I was doing a presentation for 8 hours. Was it really supposed to be this perfect? Or maybe not, okay? So I can say no to things if I see that it took me too much time. That's why I say it's super productive to really use the time trackers when you perform your tasks. Or if you're reading something, maybe you will see that you have been reading an article of 5 pages for 3 hours, and you're like, all right, maybe I have to improve my reading skills or something. Okay, and let's go to one of the types of mind map. This really this comes from a post of one marketing manager who is a friend of mine, and he shared the way he does it, and I think this is something really worthy of sharing. And I did it for myself. I still consult with this, and it helps me to structure things better. So this is the mind map of my life, and there I have two sides. One is the resources. There I have my goals or something that drives me, my principles, maybe some ideas or quotes around, some instruments that I find useful and I can forget about them. So maybe I will write out some tools which are useful for me. Maybe some rituals that I perform on daily basis, so that I can come back to them, or some spiritual rituals. Yes, if I do some maybe yoga or anything, whatever you think are your resources. Okay, maybe you can put sleeping and then you will track your sleeping, or you will write your daily schedule and stick to it through this mind map. Okay, then the spheres are the education, the body, the finances, close people, pleasures, and routine. And this could be any spheres that you have in your life. I'll elaborate on that in a moment. But what I wanted to say is that it's pretty interesting. For instance, I wrote out my close people into the list, so that I know, you can list your friends' birthdays there, or for instance, you can just write out. I have the list of my foreign friends. So if I want to send a postcard to them, I just don't forget anybody, and I just send it to all of them. Or if I go back home, I just see my list and I see who I have to meet, and so that I also don't forget anybody. And that's kind of useful, if you feel like doing that, you can also do that. Yeah, and pleasures. Don't forget to write your pleasures. So if you're down or if you're upset about something and you're super tired, maybe you want to look into your mind map and look, okay, so in my pleasures part, it says that, oh, ice cream makes me really happy, or working out makes me really happy, or maybe taking a walk or talking to this particular person makes me happy. So why don't I do this right now? Okay, so this could be a little reminder for you. And regarding the spheres, I wanted to introduce this tool. You can read about this more on internet. This is actually used in psychotherapy also. It's called the Wheel of Life. So you can see that there are like multiple spheres, and the way people usually use this tool is that they point how much am I satisfied or how much am I fulfilled in this particular sphere of life, from 1 to 10, where 1 is not fulfilled at all and 10 is very fulfilled. Okay, so, and for instance, my finances are, I don't know, here, my consistent growth is here, family and friends is 10, la 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 la. And this way I can see that, okay, maybe my emotional health is not really doing well. What can I do to actually raise my emotional health if I want to, of course. Okay, so, but you can just use this tool as an insight of what kind of spheres exist at all. Okay, and finally, the task is to choose the format of the mind map, and choose if you want to do it online, if you want to do it on paper and just send a photo, and choose the topic for it. So it could be, your mind map could be about the psychology related topic, like any subject that you're studying right now and you need maybe some more structure in. If you're, I don't know, learning neuropsychology or history of psychology or whatever, you can just write it out so that you have it, and if you need it, you will, go back to that mind map. Yes, you can do one about your life. That's very useful, and also after, deepening yourself into your purpose, thinking about your purpose, thinking about things that are not needed in your life, you can really see what your renewed self's life would look like. Okay, yes, that's one of the options. You can also make a mind map about the presentation that you're working on right now, and you can structure the information the way I said. And if you have any other ideas, or you want to plan something with the mind map, you can just contact me, and we will discuss what could it be. Then make a screenshot and send it to Microsoft Teams so that I could see it and give you some feedback. All right, and that's all for now. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye bye.